I have questions about the payment of employees that are working from home. So, am I correct that I heard that our code enforcement officer is working from home and getting paid?
Yes, he's taking calls. And the reason I did that, Jennifer, is because he has an autoimmune disease, and I think that was the wisest as a supervisor for him to do that, because he gets in contact with anybody at this time. He's very receptive to pick up anything. Donna's been working from home.
Yeah, if employees are not really working, I don't know why we're paying them.
Well, he is working. I just kept him at home working, so IT.
Would he be a non-essential employee or an essential employee?
Depends on the governor. You know, he's essential to our city. Up to what we think is essential and not essential. He would be much essential if we could write citations for non-compliance. Anything else?
Lee Graphics, March the 5th.
How much was it for?
$369.31.
That was for a filing cabinet.
How much, Megan, was that cabinet? $350?
I think so. I think there was something else included on that bill.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's.
Yeah, on the 24th, it looks like $34. $34.90 on the 24th also.
That would have been for office supplies. I believe it was envelopes. We had to order.
Okay.
And then there were some keys made. There were 15 keys made.
And
On
that was
February
to
21st for lumber.
That was to all of the file cabinets, so Donna could have a copy. And I have a copy. Megan has a set. And when Donna was here filling in for Megan, she could have a set of keys. Unfortunately, those keys don't work, so they got taken back. We should be reimbursed.
Hey, is there any way that we can have everybody just mute theirself so where the background noise will stay down?
A point of clarification, over the last month, I've had 3 financial reports. The latest one was May the 5th, 2020. Is that the one we were approving, or are we approving the 2 others before this that we've gotten this month?
This right now, Joe, is March and April. Am I right, Megan?
That's
the treasurer's report.
So the one, Megan, the one that's
March and April.
So it's dated May the 5th.
That's for saying that it's for tonight's meeting, treasurer's report for May the 5th, the meeting on May the 5th. But these are all for totals as of April 30th.
Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report, or is there anything else?
I'll make a motion.
second.
Any opposed?
Megan, I have
No.
one question. You said the treasury's report is all the way up to April the 30th.
Yes.
Okay, because I don't have anything written after March the 31st. I don't have anything for April in here.
I sent those out yesterday.
Okay. Did you mail mine?
They got mailed, Megan?
No, they went out by email.
Okay.
Okay, I got to get a hard copy.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not getting emails. I got 2 from Kay about the Zoom meeting, but some of the other stuff I haven't gotten. So that was the reason for me to come up and pick up stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we'll figure it out. It's no big deal.
Tiffany's phone to record.
Okay.
Motion carried. We'll move on to the old business. This will be the second reading of ordinance 283/2020, update to the nuisance ordinance.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear us vote. I didn't hear us vote on the treasurer's
I couldn't
report.
hear anything.
Well, if you're cutting out, I asked if anybody opposed to the treasurer.
Did we have motion?
Hear me, Jennifer?
Yeah.
I made a motion.
I thought Danny.
I made a motion. Todd seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mean to be mean, but I only have Marches, so I can vote on Marches. I don't feel comfortable voting for April's because I have not seen that.
Okay.
I think we need to have a roll call vote as well.
Is there any way, Mayor, that we can just do Marches now?
Is there anything pressing that we can't just table April?
We can move on with it. We can wait on that and do it next month. Be fine. We can approve on the treasury report for March. I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for March. Let's redo this. A second.
I'll second.
Second. Okay. Megan, you want to do the roll call?
Yes. Todd?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Danny?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Arlene?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will vote on April's treasurer's report next month when everybody gets it. As we move on to the old business. The second reading will allow Megan to give a brief summary and on that ordinance.
I think we need to have some discussion on that. Are we going to have the discussion after she reads it or before?
Yeah, we'll have it.
Okay, it's ordinance 283, 2020. It's an ordinance relating to the nuisance code for the city of Crittenden. The mayor and the city council of Crittenden have the authority to pass such nuisance as it's deemed necessary to preserve peace and good order and to protect the health, comfort, and convenience of the residents of the municipality. So this is the second reading. I don't think we have to read it all the way through. Am I correct, Alex?
Yeah, a brief summary is fine.
Okay, I'm not sure of everything they've changed in this. They went went through. Joe was on that committee to make the changes. So maybe he could do a better job than I can.
Everybody's received a copy of that. We should be aware of what the changes are. Joe, if you want to give a better brief description.
Gosh, I'm really not prepared to do that. There were about 15 suggestions that I had. Alex and I distilled those to about 7. But detailing those 7, I'm not prepared. I'm not really prepared to do that. I don't have it here in front of me.
I'll have some discussion. Do I have the floor?
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yes, I've sent out copies of comments that I've received since the last meeting about the nuisance ordinance, the proposed nuisance ordinance. And I sent those to you today, or last night, to submit to all of the council members. Did you get that? Pardon?
No.
Alex, did you get it?
I sure did. I did.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So everybody didn't get it, but I'll send it to you separately. So I have 6 pages of comments, taken straight from the comments without any, changes to them other than I removed the names. So I would be glad to send those to anybody that would like to see them. There are 16 comments on those 6 pages, and every single one of them against asking that we do not vote for this nuisance ordinance. I'll just read you one of them. I'll read you the most recent one I got. My husband and I do not support the proposed ordinance. The wording in certain sections is too loose and open to interpretation by the enforcer. For example, the noise portion of the ordinance does not specify a quiet time in which the noise portion would be enforced. Simply stating noise that destroys the enjoyment of dwellings could be interpreted as a noise complaint for mowing your yard at 10 in the morning because a neighbor complained for a similar house-related task. Furthermore, while we do not agree with the parking restrictions, we understand that the intent is to prevent eyesores in regards to tire tracks in neighborhood yards. However, this is being enforced too strict, and the 2-hour limit for parking in your yard is still too strict. If you want to reduce the habitual ones that are making eyesores, come up with a better way. It is not that hard to tell who is habitually parking in the grass rather than someone doing it out of necessity. People who normally park in their driveway should not be punished for putting a vehicle in their yard while they are doing home projects, outdoor projects, family parties, gatherings, yard sales, etc., that take longer than 2 hours. For example, a neighbor getting a ticket for a tire off the edge of their driveway is overreach. It is our belief, as well as the voiced opinion of many in our neighborhood of Eagle Creek Drive, that what should be getting focused on is methods to restrict the amount of speeding vehicles in neighborhoods. I was recently driving through a subdivision in Independence that had speed bumps. They weren't the kind that would mess up suspension, but they did require a driver to slow down. In addition, allowing parking on at least one side of the street would assist in causing people to slow down, be more cautious, and drive carefully so they could avoid hitting the parked cars and traffic from the other direction. The particular neighborhood I was in allowed street parking in specific areas marked by street signs. Let's turn our attention to reducing the speeding in neighborhoods rather than tightening restrictions on homeowners. We need to get people to reduce their speeds before someone ends up getting hurt or worse. That is just one of the. That's just one of the comments.
I can give you what goes on at the city building and what we're dealing with. Very few parking issues. Mostly it's people piling up junk beside their house. you can go down Main Street and see some a little house down the street here with desks in front of it, with garbage all around it. There is parked cars in people's yards that bring the property value up. They're not just parking for 2 hours; they're left there for weeks and months. That makes the property value go down, amongst others. I'm hearing it from other people. You're hearing it from some people also, because we have, a couple different news pages, plus people call into the city building. I know Brian the sheriff and the deputies are offering more patrol. Waller Drive, for instance, they've complained several times about speeders, and I think as far as the ordinance being voted on today, we've had a couple months, because we didn't have a meeting last month, to address these things, and I'm not trying to downplay these complaints or anything, but we have had a couple months to bring this to Joe or the committee that's decided this nuisance, and nothing has been said until now that I'm aware of. So it's up to council if they want to go ahead and vote on this. I mean, it's on the table. I mean, it's on the agenda to vote. Here's what happens, guys. It restricts the ability to have people do. We're not trying to be nasty or mean. We're trying to just get out there and say, hey, we've given 3 warnings: a business card, a letter, talk to them on the phone. If they still don't want to comply, then we'll possibly have to write a citation. I don't foresee that we will have to write a citation. Usually a couple times, and people will start doing what they need to do. But if we allow people to go for months without it being taken into consideration what their property looks like, then they start reverting back to the way the property looked like before. And it's happened right now. I've gotten several complaints on that. So, I don't want council to think that we're here to make people's lives, worse or disrespect to them. It's something that we've been working on for maybe a year now.
Does the ordinance say 3 warnings?
Anybody else? It doesn't say that. I didn't. But I can tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna go. A couple months back, over in Eagle Creek or Indian Ridge or Indian Hill, wasn't there some citations posted on people's houses about a trailer sitting in their driveway and they had 24 hours to move it?
From the city, there's never been one citation. I have the citation book here. There's never been one citation written. Now, if the sheriff's office might have left a warning, a sticker, or something there, that might be something. Todd, did they advise who the department was with that put that in there?
I'm gonna try to look it up real quick if I can find it. I'm just going off of memory, and it's not all that great.
While he's looking that up, I'm kind of concerned about the way the economy's gone and the way people have lost their jobs and the way that people's retirement funds have drastically been reduced. I'm worried about if the word in the past has been we need to pass this so there's teeth to it where somebody can actually do something and enforce these ordinances. Kind of concerned that there's going to be people that aren't going to be able to pay for possibly fixing the things on their house that are supposed to be fixed or what they got cited for because they had, I don't know what. I'm kind of worried that we're going to I know you don't want it to happen, but I'm fearful that we're going to go into the business of putting liens on people's houses if they can't pay the fines.
No, we're not. No. That's not what we want this city to be about, and I'm sure you agree with that, Danny. This is something to pass or not pass in order for us in the future. We're not talking about right now. There's no citation. And I think that maybe Judge Dills, the courts are closed. I mean, the courthouse is working on very little personnel. There's not, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, there's not much going on in the court system as far as citations. People are allowed to drive with expired license, expired tags. We will follow those same guidelines. We're not going to write a citation to somebody when we know that we're not here because we want to enforce people to pay fines. We're in the future when things settle down, the economy gets better, we're going to say, hey, let's clean your property up, and we can work with each other. That's not what we're about here either. We're going along with the county and the state, and people aren't able to pay their electric bills and so forth, and we don't want to be remembered by that type of city.
Mayor, does this look familiar at all? To final notice?
Yeah, that's a letter, but it's not a citation.
Okay.
And they try, you try to get people to do the right thing, even though we don't want to write citations. Sometimes people just don't even respond to that. If it says final notice, that means we've told them 3 different times, but they still didn't get a citation.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Can I finish? I would just like to say that I have 6 pages here of people asking that we vote no on this ordinance, and I just and the comments are that it is overreaching, that it doesn't fit for Crittenden. It's more of an HOA type of document. People are very unhappy with it, and I just want to make sure that, and I'm sorry that you all didn't get copies of this. I sent it to the mayor and to the attorney and asked that it be distributed before this meeting. So I'm sorry that you all didn't get copies of it.
I didn't see it. I hadn't been on my email today, but we've had 2 months, not to be smart, but we've had 2 months to deal with this. But I get questions from the other end, Jennifer. I get complaints from the people that don't want their property value to go down. So we'll go ahead and vote on this, and
Let's see which way it goes.
let's see where it goes. That's all we can do, I need a motion to approve the nuisance ordinance 283/2020.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
don't care.
There's a second motion? Can everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Nod your heads if you can hear me. Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second motion? No. Okay. Motion's ordinance is dead.
May I offer a suggestion? So it looks like we voted that down for lack of a second. I think we need a nuisance ordinance. Overarching, thought we need one. The one we've got that's very old is less than adequate. However, we've gotten feedback that the existing ordinance or the proposal for the ordinance is too robust, too complex, and has some gaps in it. I would propose that we need yet another revision, but our revision process is broken. And it's broken from the standpoint, individually we're getting feedback, individually we're having but we're not participating as a group. And I think the only way we'll get through this ordinance is for every council member, let's have a special meeting and go through this thing line by line by line. Everybody gain consensus, give their feedback. If we do it piecemeal a little bit here or there, I mean, I've been working with Alex for 4 months now, and 4 months later, I see blind spots. I see stuff I missed. I see stuff that I got wrong. But that was one person giving feedback directly to Alex to develop the ordinance. I really think if we're going to have an ordinance, and this is one of the more complicated ones we've had to deal with, I think it needs to be a council and mayor and attorney group session, and let's just hammer it out and get it done.
I'd like to say something. I'd like to say something to that, Joe. You all wanted a committee. This is what I don't understand. The council wanted a committee when they voted it down last time. Joe, you said you wanted to sit on it, and Todd couldn't make it the night that the committee met. It was people from the community, some business managers, people from different areas in the city. You sit down on a committee with the attorney that put 2.5 hours of his time coming down from North Kentucky and put together this ordinance, Joe, to be voted on. Now, you was all for this, and you was they could have contacted you. Nobody did. And you said it was good to go. You brought the ordinance to the table to read it, but yet now you didn't second that ordinance. You know, it doesn't matter to me.
I had no feedback from any other council member. That was mine and mine alone.
Well, here's the thing. You know, what do you guys want? You know, you want a committee. You got a committee. You voted against it. You're wasting people's time. How do the people in the community that want your property value to stay at a standard, that came to this committee, donated 2.5 hours of their time to have a slap in the face, and especially from a leader that was there that sit on that committee? So we'll move on with that. And Alex, if I'm not mistaken, I'll get with you. The ordinance is still in place. We still have an ordinance. We will, Alex, I guess, just talk about, we'll see if it has teeth or not. But as of tonight, we'll move on, so we're not here all evening. We have a second reading of ordinance 284-2020. That's the budget amendment. Megan, do you want to go ahead and read that?
Ordinance 284-2020, ordinance relating to the annual budget for the fiscal year of 2019-2020. Whereas the city of Crittenden must adopt an ordinance amending the budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. So this would be the second reading of this ordinance. I'll just hit the highlights of what we were amending since it's been a while. We had to amend the advertising expense. We were changing that from $1,500 to $2,500. We were amending the accounting fees from $15,000 to $20,000. We were amending the office expenses from $7,500 to $12,100, and the beautification from $1,000 to $4,625. Those are the changes.
Wasn't there some money for the bicentennial that we don't know if it's going to happen now or not?
Yes. $10,500.
So did we also approve a backup plan for the computers at that meeting?
Something about the computers.
I believe that was proposed to us, that there was going to be some changes to the system of backup for the computers. For the city computers.
Are we talking about that software, Megan, from the IT, James Best, or West?
IT guys come in every month and doing a hard copy backup. There was Fred was gonna look into putting some backup software on there after we got it, but there's no, the IT meeting comes once a month and backs it up.
I believe we approved that with the understanding that there was going to be more backup to the system and that it was necessary. Do you really think that once a month is enough to back up the computer system?
That may be a question.
I don't think it's close. Once a month's not nearly enough.
Well, didn't we purchase an external hard drive too?
I thought we approved all that, and I'm just asking, did it happen?
Megan, I don't even remember that. I'm sorry. I don't. Is that something that's in the budget amendment, Megan?
I'm not really sure. It was all proposed under what Fred set up our computer as.
Well, if you remember, we too, during that meeting, we talked about a solid state hard drive external and not having the tape system that you had right now. And that was part of the nominal $4,000 that was approved. It just doesn't sound like we got what we approved.
I'll have James look at it, Joe, the IT guy, and see what is the money in there, Megan, for that.
I would say so if it was all approved under the computer.
All right, we'll talk to James and get that straightened out. What was the other question? Danny, did you have a question?
Oh, I talked about the bicentennial, but yes, there was something in there too about the amended budget about the computers, and I'm trying to find mine right now, and I'm not having any luck finding what we.
I did talk with Jamie Baker with Chamber. They're still planning on the bicentennial, but she don't see the beautification happening this year. That was her very words, but I'm not so sure about the bicentennial either.
Wouldn't it be the other way around? You would think the beautification could move on and not the bicentennial celebration.
I agree with that. You know, and that's up to council. You know, we don't have to have approval from Chamber of Commerce to have the city looking nice. Also, we have another person that wants the banners up on the poles.
Well, the only thing is that she said that tourism was going to fund some part of that. I can't remember what it was.
About $3,800, I think, wasn't it?
But it was
35, wasn't it? It was 3,500.
But it was benches or flower pots or something.
And it was
we were
benches,
going to match
flower
that.
pots, and trash cans.
Trash cans, yeah.
So would they be interested in going ahead and doing that part of it, and then we could go ahead and use our match dollars for that?
I'll ask her. Yeah, I would like that. I'll ask her.
I think that would be good.
I don't see us having a bicentennial, but I could be wrong.
I think we should move.
Canceled.
I think we should move ahead with the trash cans, benches, and flower pots if we can figure out how to keep them from being vandalized.
Well,
I think so, Todd.
Yeah, I think what we approved though was that we were going to get the ones that she was talking about. I don't want to move forward and get something cheap. I would rather what she was talking about. So
I would still like to get the group price that she was talking about being able to get.
Right. So Kay's going to talk to her about that.
This is Carolyn. I'd love to be on that committee if possible.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll help it better. Going back to the computers, there was something on there that they needed more money for the computers, and we approved it, but I can't find it. So somebody's going to need to help me find it or go back and Megan's notes. We earmarked more money for the computer for the backup because, like Joe said, something about we didn't get what we thought we were going to get or something to that effect.
I think the minutes said $1,800 on this last proposal for setup of the clerk's computers, but that was to include the backup system. And I don't think that part entered the notes.
There should be a list. There should be a list, Megan, that I've seen the list and I've got it here somewhere, that everything that was on that list, if you can remember, that that should be part of it.
Okay, I'll have to look.
I thought
I don't
we
think-
purchased the backup server with the big bill for the computer system. I thought that was all rolled into one.
Well, we've been talking about this for quite some time.
Yeah, that's my understanding too, Todd, that it was one system, it was a standalone server, and it was going to be solid state versus a moving head drive. And frankly, they aren't that expensive. I'm holding one right here for the terabyte, $100.
It's fine. Just we'll have to get it looked at. Anything else on that budget amendment? Do you want to take out the bicycle? Do you want it in there? Do you want to just leave the beautification?
Make a motion that we just go ahead and pass it like it is. We won't use the bicentennial money if they're not going to proceed. We can just put it in the next budget, but there's no sense in changing it now.
No.
As long as we do.
A motion to approve the amended budget.
I make the motion.
I second it.
I'll second it or third.
Second or third.
Let's move on. Do you want me to do a roll call? Is everybody for it?
Yeah.
Todd?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Earlene?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And Paula? Yes.
We move on to old business, questions about Oakwood Drive and where we stand at that. I spoke with Alex, and the easement is as to attorney McDowell with the Dallas property, and they have accepted it, but they're working on the deed. Trying to get that once that gets together and we sign off and they get 35,000. Then Alex and Art will be working on a bid to put in the papers to contract that out. Anything you want to add to that?
That's correct, Mayor. As you know, we had, you went out to the site and met with the attorney and the engineer to kind of walk the site so you could have a chance to see where the easement was. There was some back and forth, but ultimately we got the agreement negotiated for the 5,000 we talked about. We didn't have to pay any more, which is a good thing. So as soon as Greg approves the language and we get the information put back into it, we should be done. I'm hoping this week. I placed a call yesterday and another follow-up email today. I haven't heard back, but I expect it to be this week.
I have a question about